Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to the fourth and final video of the Apple Catcher game. This is going to be a very short video because all we're doing is two things. First, we're going to finish up the game by adding an endgame function. And second, we're going to talk about how to improve the game as well as what to do moving on forward. The video itself should be no less than 8 minutes. Let's get started. Okay, first thing is that when I said no less than, I meant no greater than. Sometimes I get messed up with that. I'm a programmer and I don't know that. That's kind of funny. Okay, now the second thing is I've added a little tidbit right here, okay? So right here, this code did not exist. Okay, lines 164 to 167. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. Oh, that's way too much. Okay, so basically, if the player's score is greater than 10, you might be wondering, that is very low, right? But it all depends on your game. I'm just making it 10 because I want to show you what happens if you finish the game. We're going to call the endgame function, and we are going to set run game equal to false. And if you remember what that does, that means that we're going to stop this while loop. Okay? Now, what is endgame? If you look up here, we are going to basically hide every single turtle in existence. For player and score in the player list and score list, we're going to player.reset everything. We're going to hide the turtle. Score.reset, score.hide turtle. For all the food in the food list, we're going to food.reset, food.hide turtle. All the turtles are gone. Yes, I'm sorry. Don't call PETA on me. Okay. Then we're going to have one final hurrah message for whoever wins. Now, what is pname? If you saw this parameter. Remember, if any of the player's scores is greater than 10 at that frame, then we take that player's name and we call endgame. So whichever player has the highest score, whichever the player hits that 10 cap, right? And this should actually be less than or equal to 10, but it doesn't matter. It all depends. Basically, the final message, right? We're going to create a new text turtle centered in the very middle. And basically, we're going to say that person, whatever the character's name, wins. Aligned in the center with huge font. Very simple. I decided to make a video for this because I also wanted to talk about one more thing. But let's just go ahead and run this. And this should mark the end of our game. I hope. Okay, time to collect the apples. Oh, God. One more thing you might notice, and this is another thing I want to talk about, is debugging, okay? So I'm going to show you something after I finish this game. First of all, things are a bit weird. As you can see, that's way too big. So why don't we make the Arial text 64, so half that size. And the monkey score shows, which is, again, really weird, right? So this is all about debugging. The next thing that you might notice is if you run the code, and we haven't fixed this problem yet, if you run the code, our monkey score is always going to get a 3-point head start. That's because all the apples and bananas start in the middle with the sprites as well. The very simple way to fix this is to go up to the food turtle and just self.teleport when we initialize, right? That's one of the great things about methods. We can call it in the init method itself. As you can see, whenever we initialize our food, it starts off in a random position, and our monkey does not get a head start. Okay, I'm gonna finish this game up real quick. Hopefully it looks good. I'm not gonna debug everything for you. There will be a few errors, right? And I want you to figure them out. As you can see, why does the monkey score 12 pop up here? Did we not clear it? That's something that you might want to check out. As you can see, the monkey wins. And it's just a great end screen. It is beautiful. Not. The biggest reason I teach you guys how to program is so that you guys can use my template, right? How I'm coding, but use your own creativity to make the game much more interesting. This is a very boring game, I'm not gonna lie, right now, right? The concept is interesting. We could go like in a lot of different directions with this concept, but it's just a boring game, and it's that simple. Once you finish the game, oh, whoever reaches 10, you know, after a while it gets boring. How do we make this game more interesting? Okay, let's go ahead and let's write a huge doc string coming up with a few ideas, and this is called the brainstorming process. Okay, so the first idea I have is to add a character select screen. So with Turtle, you can actually detect mouse clicks, right? So you can use your mouse to select characters. So don't worry about, you know, how do we actually select characters. You can detect mouse clicks in Turtle. So basically what I mean by this is we have 4 characters, but the 2 players get to choose which character they want, right? And then we're gonna add a subpoint. Each character, and this is pretty cool. This is why we have classes, right? Each character has different attributes. What could be those attributes? Remember when our player moves forward or backwards? Maybe one character moves really fast in the X direction, right? One character maybe gets double points from apples, right? These are all good ideas that we can implement in our game. Another thing we can do is, and this is actually what we're going to be doing in our pie game, is make our characters shoot projectiles, right? So they can shoot projectiles to collect the bananas and the apples. So they only have to be in the same like X position or Y position when they're shooting projectiles, right? Another idea is to allow the user to play again. So they don't have to, you know, keep on running this main.py over and over again. They can keep on playing as long as they want to, and then when they're done, there's like an exit button, right? They can click the exit button and it'll finally break the main loop and they can leave, right? What else? This is part of the brainstorming process. They're coming up with cool ideas that we can do, right? So I'm just going to leave 3 ideas. And then the next thing that I want you to do, right, after you come up with a brainstorm, is then rate how difficult it will be to implement it. Because you as a programmer know how good you are, right, at programming. For example, allowing the user to play again is easy. It's not that hard. All you have to do is add a button that the user can click, and basically it resets the entire screen, it resets all the code, and you play again. Make our character shoot projectile is medium because, you know, the logic for shooting projectiles is really simple. Like you have like a sprite, right, that's hidden behind our monkey, let's say, right? And then when we press the space bar, the projectile becomes visible and it moves forward. And then once it hits like something, it will basically disappear, the apple will disappear, and the monkey gets the point, right? Not that hard. This one, the first one, might be hard because of the time that it takes, right? Making all these characters with different attributes and stuff, that sounds a bit hard to do. Maybe for some of you, the math behind shooting projectiles is hard. But for me, honestly, and this is why it depends on the programmer, coming up with ideas for different characters, I'm not that creative. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that creative. But some of you out there, I've seen the projects you do, they are really impressive. So go out and make this project interesting. Now, before I end the video, I do want to say one thing. We are coming up with a Pygame course. So once the Pygame course is out, which is going to be Unit 10, I recommend you to not spend that much time on this. Now, that might be weird, but the reason I say that is because I want you to use the ideas that I come up with here and implement them in the Pygame game that you're making, because Pygame is much better to make games. As you can see, adding sounds, like, okay, that's another idea, right? Adding sounds. All of these things are much more complicated in Turtle. There's a lot of limitations. It's just meant as a simple, lightweight drawing program. Pygame is where it's at for building games in Python. Okay, Hope you enjoyed this mini project. I don't know. This is a pretty big project. I'll just call this a mega project. Hope you enjoy. And I'll see you in the Pygame curriculum. Peace.